It is estimated that up to 40% of the food in the United States is never eaten. Grocery stores overstock their shelves to maintain an image of abundance. Farmers are unable to sell produce that doesn't look perfect. People are confused by food date labels. Most wasted food ends up in landfills, where it generates methane, a greenhouse gas that is up to 86 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. As we become more aware of the threats to our environment and food security around the globe, more and more people are finding innovative solutions to these complex issues. Enter Misadventure Co. This small distillery in Vista, California is taking what the environmental community calls food waste and turning it into something better, a clean, smooth vodka that's winning awards for its exceptional taste. This is their story. I'm Jeff. I retired from the military, sold everything I own, and now I'm traveling around the world to learn from brewers, winemakers, distillers, and tell their story. This is my journey of beer, wine, and spirits. The first thing I wanted to see was where Misadventure sources their raw materials. So co-founder Whit took me to the San Diego County Food Bank to learn more.
Yo, Whit, this is my first time in a food bank, and I'm looking around, and this is so much food. I absolutely cannot believe how much food there is here. And what's really cool is you're actually providing a solution, taking some of this bread, some of these pastries, and turning it into vodka.
As you can see, this is a giant facility. Before the pandemic, they were doing 300,000 meals distributed a month. And then during the pandemic, they doubled their numbers to 600,000 meals. The food banks are doing amazing things here in San Diego. But unfortunately, one of the things that is kind of a thorn in their side are baked goods. Baked goods have very little nutritional value. They're loaded with starches and sugars, which is not great for the midsection, but it's great for making alcohol. And so that's why this is really a cool solution, is we're taking what the food banks don't need, what they don't want, what actually costs them money, and we're upcycling it into a beautiful, high quality vodka that is now helping the environment out, helping the food banks do their job, and really not wasting any of the ingredients that the farmers did. So it's part of this almost closed loop system that Misadventure is helping create.
You know, looking at today, we picked up one 250-pound box of this, but usually, like you were talking about, typical load is 4 of these here.
It's 4 of these every week, overflowing with, think of everything in your grocery store bakery aisle. You got bread, you got cakes, you got crawlers and donuts and bagels. It's all loaded in there. All of it has, again, 0 nutritional value, but an expiration date. And so it needs to go someplace. If we weren't here, unfortunately, this stuff would end up in a dumpster and end up in the landfill. And when food decomposes, it turns to methane. And so the food that we're not even eating is damaging our environment. And so part of our solution, the main part of our solution, is trying to prevent that from happening. This is just useful ingredients. Like, we're surrounded by useful ingredients. When you think about it as not as food, but what it's made from, the world opens up in a way.
So how much, give me an example, one box produces how many bottles of vodka?
One box, 250 pounds.
Yeah.
That's gonna be about 100 bottles of vodka, give or take. Maybe 150, depending on what the content is inside here.
Yeah.
And it's pretty wild to look at all of that.
I know. Well, now that we got everything loaded in the truck, I guess it's time to go make some vodka.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Misadventure is the first distillery to make alcohol from excess baked goods. So when it comes to their production methods, they are in uncharted territory. So I had to ask co-founder and head distiller Sam what challenges they faced when making their carbon negative spirit.
I think the biggest difference is that every other brewer and distiller will buy bags or super sacks of malted barley. And that virgin grain is just chemically different than stuff that's already been once used and then baked and cooked. So we had to learn how to overcome making that bioavailable to our yeast. Second, because we have this mash bill that has tons of pastries in it, we end up getting about 10% of total weight that we bring in. It comes out during fermentation as just a layer of fat. And no other distiller or brewer in the country or the world has to deal with that.
And so what's left over is you have the gluten in here, you have, again, any of the leftover kind of killed bacterias, anything that doesn't turn into an alcohol stays in this pot. We will donate that to the El Corazon compost facility here in Oceanside. It's basically a highly nutritious soup.
We are proud that we're able to take even our residuals and give it to something as environmentally friendly as creating compost. From start to finish, we've taken something that had a 3-day shelf life and turned it into something that, in the form of vodka, has an infinite shelf life, and in the form of the compost, is able to rejuvenate some of the ecosystems in our local community, and that really fits in with what we're trying to do here.
Given their unique problems and needs in the distillery, the guys had to get inventive with their distilling equipment, even making their main still from scratch.
Yeah, I came in here and this is the most unconventional equipment that I've ever seen in a distillery.
Sure.
I mean, anybody that's watched my episodes will look at this and go, that's a still? And I think it's amazing.
No one's ever done this process before, and it provides its own unique challenges, really at every step. It's not just the bread. Eventually, you get all the way down to solving your own problems as opposed to the industry's problems. And you end up in it may be unique, but an incredibly well-informed position where you feel empowered enough to solve anything.
Yeah, I want to get into this because everything looks absolutely amazing in here, man. So, but I was looking at the expiration date and literally 2 days old, and
Oh yeah.
it's still great.
Yeah, dude, these beignets are great.
Tastes really, really good. Now, I understand why they put this on. And that's to protect you and I, the consumer. But more importantly, that's not what you're worried about
No,
making vodka. You're worried about the sugars.
absolutely.
in this.
While the expiration date does protect the consumers, the state of this food doesn't matter in our process of making vodka. It's really a scientific process. As we talked about earlier, this stuff is all made from starches and sugars. This is the building blocks. That's the building blocks to making all alcohols. Beer, wine, whiskey, vodka, you need a starch and a sugar source. We're gonna take all this and we're gonna throw it in our pot here. This is a steam jacket. We're gonna heat this up to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. That's gonna kill all the bacteria or any kind of mold. If there is mold in here, that's gonna first kill all that stuff. Really what we're doing is the vodka boils up into a vapor and it comes up this tube here and we collect it over there. So we are separating the alcohol or the ethanol from everything else.
Now talk to me, Wade, because there's some people watching this saying, Jeff, I see this cherry pie, I see coconut macaroons, chocolate, I mean, you name it. I mean, we've got all these different ingredients, blueberries. Does that end up in the end product?
So the flavor of it does not, actually. That's the beauty of making vodka. Now, if we're making a whiskey, all of these different flavors would affect the end result. When you make vodka, vodka is by definition an odorless, flavorless, neutral spirit. And you distill it to about 96% ethanol. And so when you do that, there's really only 4% left for any kind of flavor fluctuation. And that's mostly water. A really good vodka, you're only gonna taste very subtle things. The main ingredient in this is refined wheat flour. When you distill that, there's some subtle sweet notes that come through, some subtle vanilla notes. Everything else kind of blends together. And so every batch consistently tastes the same with these subtle sweet notes.
Wow, man, so cool. That will be vodka.
Yep.
I just want to know, how does it feel to make such an amazing product? Because this is an absolutely phenomenal product, you know, and you're solving complex problems, you know, about the environment.
I mean, when we created this, I think for us, like, the whole point was to inspire other people to know that, like, they can be part of the solution too. We all can make change. Yeah, like in so many different ways. And like the big thing is like not waiting for someone else to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like put your foot forward, you know, strap your boots on, and if you're angry about something, then go do something about it, you know?
Yeah. It's an honor to come tell your story, guys. I mean, you know, it's crazy now. I go into a grocery store and I look at it a totally different manner. And doing this story, you know, it gave me a better understanding of that. More importantly, it gave me an understanding of hope, that there are distilleries, there are people out there solving complex issues to problems like this in our environment especially. So, you know, cheers to that, guys.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.